Good morning, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okun, and I've been speaking about the cost of living crisis, which is global. I am now narrowing my speaking to the United Kingdom, and I'm looking at specifics in terms of help from the government, in terms of money given to people who need help, and also information and advice and other aspects of help. And if you live in the United Kingdom, you visit the government website gov.uk and also other charities. You can find these charities either via the government website or on their own rights. And if you watch the rest of my video, I've mentioned these charities over and again, and watch the other videos. And if I find opportunity, I'm going to mention these charities again. But this is video is it's one in a series of many videos about the United Kingdom. And I've also said what happens in the United Kingdom happens more or less the same in Europe, America, Asia, and Africa, because we live in a globalized society. And therefore, today we will be talking about energy. Energy is something you use in your home for cooking, for eating, your home, and also water for drinking and for cooking, washing, and doing other things. And we will talk about different aspects, and we will link these to the cost of living crisis and also interpret it in terms of the help given by the government. We actually have divided our conversations in terms of development and culture. These two components will comprise what I refer to as progress. And if we talk about energy in the United Kingdom, we look at suppliers. Suppliers are people who provide energy. They are mostly private companies, and we have discussed this in the other videos. And you can find that videos, and you can also get information on advisors on these issues. I already referred to this in the other videos. In the other videos, I've also classified the United Kingdom in terms of England, Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland. Policies in England and Wales are similar or more or less the same, but Scotland is actually significantly different, as well as Northern Ireland. The four sub countries actually formulate together to create a United Kingdom, and Great Britain is actually England, Wales, and Scotland, excluding Northern Ireland. So if you are looking for information, one of the things you can look for is actually contact details of your energy supplier. You can look for that. You can look at other information with regards to people who can provide help. So you can also determine if you are getting help, if an authority can act on your behalf, and also some documentation associated with that. And you can also see if you can get extra help in terms of cost of living crisis, in terms of these facilities. And also you can check also if you are being threatened with disconnection, or you're actually being disconnected. These are actually some things we already discussed in the other videos. Sometimes some suppliers have contact details, emails, and numbers for advisors only, and establish if this is the situation. If you're looking for information, not all the information actually to be found for the same type of people, but there are also different type of people, actually advisors and customers. If you are an advisor also looking at watching this video, therefore you should be aware that some information actually refers only to advisor. It shouldn't be given to customers to your client, but also clients will almost always not really be able to find this kind of information. Information of this sort actually help advisors to communicate with energy suppliers more quickly. For some reason or another, customers actually wait longer than professionals. Normally, if you're a client of an energy company, you use something called a public customer service contact number. That's the kind of number we would use. And also make sure you double check the information on your suppliers. Some suppliers actually register with one name and operate under another name. For example, because there are a lot of subcontracting within. For example, if you contact British Gas, you may find that British Gas are actually contracting service to another organization who supplies you energy or other services. So it's important to actually check if an energy supplier is trading under one name but it's owned or operated by a parent or a partnership company with a different name. Some of these details actually can be found online on the website, and be aware of that. In the private sector environment, there is a lot of takeover. Takeover means big companies actually buy smaller ones, and so which means some energy company may have been bought, and maybe a big company, a small company may have been taken over by a bigger company, but the company begin to continue to trade under the name of the former, and also they are known as something like a white label, which means they work in partnership with a licensed supplier. And so check that the person who supplies you is also the person you have contracted with. You will usually need to contact the parent or partnership company to sort out any problems. It depends who you sign contract with, and normally this is complex and confusing. And if you watch the other videos I have actually recorded, I've said that one of the problems with supplying public service, providing public service, is actually privatization. Because with privatization, there's always selling and buying. You can sign a contract with one company, and 2 or 3 years down the line, you will think you're still with maybe British Gas, but another company may be operating, and the British Gas, they may still keep British Gas, but actually it's an entity. There will be a different organization. It is not clear why they operate like that, but that is how the business world is, like a jungle. So my criticism would be that, to simplify things, perhaps it would be better if the government could keep the basic necessities unprivatized. But the privatization is here to stay. We can only maybe talk to the government to reverse privatization, which I see is going to be really difficult. But if that is the case, then we should learn to live with privatization. So online you can find a table which actually shows which organization is supplier and who to contact. Because sometimes you are actually directed to contact one organization, and but the energy company supplying you may be different. The one you actually deal with may be a different organization. For example, there's somebody called Affect Energy, and this is actually the name of the energy supplier. But if you are trying to talk to Affect Energy, because they are supplying you, but you have a contract with Octopus Energy. This is an example. So you are actually the person you are contracted to is actually who to contact, the organization you contact if you need to deal with any issue, maybe debt or anything like that. There is also another example. The name of the energy supplier is Boost, and the person you're contracted with to actually is overall energy, which is the one you should contact if you need help. Then you have your energy supplier, for example, is Co-op Energy, and there's also Octopus Energy. Is this person you should contact to deal with customer service related issues. These are some of the complications. So your energy supplier could be somebody called EBICO, and then you have to contact Octopus. That means Octopus have actually been contracted to different suppliers, and which means Octopus is actually bigger corporations, which means they sign contract with you and subcontract to other suppliers who are smaller. Another example, actually, Glide would be a subcontractor who supplies energy, but also is actually is subcontracted to overall energy. So organizations like Octopus, Octopus Energy, overall. Actually, these are actually big organizations who are subcontracting supply to organizations like Glide, London Power, which actually is a subcontractor of Octopus, and Marks and Spencer, M&S, Octopus Energy, Sainsbury Energy. Sainsbury is actually a supermarket. Also, Marks and Spencer is actually also a big retail corporation. These are now supplying energy, but they subcontract these services from big organizations like Octopus. Marks and Spencer is a subcontractor of Octopus. You can actually be supplied by Marks and Spencer. Probably you sign contract with Marks and Spencer, but when there is an issue, you have to deal with the main contractor, which is, if you comment below if you think that is a good idea. And also, Sainsbury's Energy is Eon Next. Eon Next is actually the parent organization. Scottish Hydro is a smaller one. OVO Energy is the big one. Southern Electric is OVO. SSE is OVO Energy. And Solect is OVO Energy. So OVO Energy would be the parent company, and Swelec would be this is the kind of situation customer will be facing. So there are energy supplier contact details will be available, but also the parent company, which is the big corporation which subcontracts to suppliers like British Gas and Scottish Gas. You can find them also recorded. British Gas is a well-known supplier. So Ecotricity, EDF, Eon, Next, you got good energy, good green energy, Octopus, Outfox, the market, OVO Energy, like I said, Rebel Energy, Scottish Power, Shell Energy, SO Energy, Square One Energy, Tomato Energy, True Energy, Utilita Energy, Utility Warehouse, Refusal. So all these situations are actually prevailing in the way energy is supplied. It's quite fragmented, it's quite complex, but it's something you can raise with your member of parliament, or leave a comment below to let me know your views about the situation prevailing in how energy under privatization is being supplied. In my opinion, it's quite complex, and if the government was interested in solving this problem, it would actually renationalize this system, so that we, because see, if you're trying to deal with OVO, for example, and your suppliers are maybe 20 or 30 different subcontractors, and you are totally confused, you contact your supplier and you are transferred to maybe 20 or 30 or 40 different subcontractors, and You are just sitting there, maybe an hour later, 2 hours, 3 hours later, you haven't your question hasn't been answered, and this is now increasingly a major problem. And in my opinion, I think this is the beginning of the end of the public sector in terms of energy, water, food, and leave a comment below what you think is happening. Sometimes if you need help from somebody to act on your behalf, you need to give authorization, but you can also refuse for somebody to act on your behalf if you're not happy with them. So normally, if you go online, you will find sample letter to do that. Also, you need to be aware if somebody is trying to act on your behalf. You can actually authorize somebody to act on your behalf. You can actually work to write a letter to send to your supplier, and they may refuse your authorization for somebody to act on your behalf for one reason or another. They can actually refuse, but also be aware that this will result in delay in processing your case. And if your case is actually involving maybe debt, or actually you are complaining about some service, or maybe you are not satisfied with the service, maybe you think the energy price cost is too high, and maybe you want to change your supplier or something like that, it is a problem which need really somebody to act on your behalf, and the energy company is refusing to acknowledge the letter of authorization. Then this is some of the problems you should be aware of. It may create delay, but ultimately you have to really do your best, to help yourself. Often, if this situation arises, then a conference call may be made by your representative, which will involve you actually in the call. A conference call may be a three-way. Maybe you are involving those actually participating in the call will be your supplier, maybe your advisor, and yourself. And you may also need to, if there's a conference call which involves yourself and your representative, you may need to complete a data protection questions and agree to add your name to the account. To agree to add the name of your representative to your account. These are also situations arising which is complex, which is actually a mistake being made by the government, because service provision should be simplified, not made complex, especially if there is a situation involving problem solving, and also involving extra help by professionals to support households, some of whom are really vulnerable, and they are sick, maybe they are elderly, maybe they are poor. And this is a situation now created under the private sector system, also under the complicated legal system, which is a very dangerous way to run a country, in my opinion. So an energy company, like I said, may refuse your letter of authorization. Your supplier may refuse your letter of your letters of authorization, and if that happens, then if the energy company has refused your letter of authorization to act, then you can actually tell the professional involved in helping you. You can actually tell them by filling out a certain feedback form at the bottom of the page of the letter. Normally at the bottom of the page of a letter, which is a sample letter, standard letter. An organization like that may try to address this. These are all complexities which actually had to delay in solving problems. And leave a comment below what you think. If you're going to speak to your MP or to your councillor or to your leaders, how complicated prospectively or in actual sense, especially if you're in a situation also in a crisis, then how are you going to deal with that? And if the system was simplified by actually streamlining the policies, and also if the government could produce a statute, a clear law to actually regulate the energy companies, to require them to do certain things, there wouldn't be all these processes of complexity, because now the government would need to privatize the economy, is also reluctant to regulate this organization. So this organization do as they please, because in the name of free market system, the idea of free market economy, where the government is discouraged to interfere in the private company. The problem is that these private companies are given the power to serve the public, instead of the government actually serving the public directly. It has actually given up the responsibility of serving the country to private companies who are unaccountable to the public. And this is a major problem to do with privatization, and the British people need to understand and also engage with the problem, and also engage. The more they understand the situation, the more they can deal with, they can actually participate to challenge their government politically, by also, writing to their member of parliament, also writing to the British government. If 2 or 3 people actually come together as a family or member of a community, their voices are going to carry more weight an institution like this, because to create this kind of complexity and allow the private companies to create complications while avoiding to provide service. Because you see, the problem with private companies, if the business is no longer making money, they try to close it down. And also, if they can avoid supplying energy, to give any excuse or actually overcharge customers, or even why should people be in debt with energy? Because the cost of energy is going up. The government is allowing the cost of energy to be subjected to the market forces, which is what has happened when there was a disruption of supply of energy globally, and that's why the energy cost actually is going up. Even now, when the government politicians are saying they're helping people with money, but they give money with one hand but take it away with another, the energy companies are actually increasing the cost of energy. Which means the money the government is giving you is actually no money at all. Because if the government was wanting to actually help, they should have actually authorized or ordered actually the private company to freeze the cost of energy. Now the cost of energy is going up, and the government is actually lying to the British people that it is helping the British people. The first help to the British people actually should be tell the energy company to actually even freeze. People should not be charged energy at all in the first place, because you see, the government, there is a lot of wealth in the world, including in Britain. The British people should not even, especially those who are poor, who are on benefit, who are actually on minimum wage, should not pay for energy. Energy should be actually generated and provided free of charge. To the government should pay for it. And because of poor, immature, ideologically driven type of politics in the United Kingdom, so this havoc, this violence is actually promoted. And I've been saying this, if you're interested in politics, I'm looking at policy now, but if you are also interested in politics, then you can watch the rest of my video, do your own research to find out what the government is doing, because policy implementers like advisors or even lawyers or people who represent you, or even the energy company, these are actually people who implement government policy. They may or may not be directly involved with politics, but as a citizen of the United Kingdom, or somebody who lives in the United Kingdom, you have the right to be involved in political issues and political issues actually about poverty. It's about poor management of the economy for the many, and also to rig this economy in terms of growth and benefit of growth in favor of the few who are actually discouraged. So if you're dealing in the UK with a professional and you have written, authorized this professional to act on your behalf, and you have written a letter of authorization and the energy company has refused, then you can fill out a certain form by actually telling the professionals which the name of your supplier, so that they are aware, and their details, so that the professional can actually engage with them. Often when you are looking for help, try to maximize your source of help, because there are so many different types of help available which are scattered all over the place. And always aim at getting extra help and find out if you can get extra help online. Find it online or ask professionals. When you contact an advisor, remind them to see that your aim is to maximize your help. Prompt them to find out if you can get extra help from anywhere, because this is the situation now which the government has created by privatization mainly. Because of privatization, as I've been trying to explain in this video, help is scattered all over the place. It's complex, and it is deliberate, or if not deliberate, then it is carelessness, recklessness, and the government should be held into account, or the government should politically, they should be held accountable. So it is your duty as somebody who lives in the United Kingdom, especially if you're a citizen of this country. But even if you have the right to live in your country, in this country, in the United Kingdom, you have the same right to exercise your right and engage with each other to come together and actually discuss this issue, do a research and do a study, be an expert on any problem you're facing, so that when you begin to talk to the authorities about it, because the authorities are the one creating the problem. All these problem we are talking about is actually, we are referencing it to the cost of living crisis, which is created either deliberately or carelessly. It doesn't matter by the government. Government actually creating poverty by design or by being careless. I mean, if you don't care, if you are careless, if you don't care about what you do, why should you be in power? The British people should be able to ask this specific question to their MPs, because they can choose to be quiet, to be silent and not speak. But if you still have any freedom, you have at least some element of right to speak, take advantage of it. I mean, you become an accomplice to human wrong if you have a right and you don't actually use that right. And one of the weaknesses of our society here in the UK, but also across the globe, is disunity. You see, if you know something which is right to be done, try and mobilize. You know, if you are actually in work, in the workplace, try and actually talk to some colleagues, if you can meet during the weekend, to discuss social problems, political problems, you know, environmental problems, you know. And if you're interested in things like technology, science, you know, GM food, for example, artificial intelligence, if you're interested in those issues, form a group, 2 or 3 groups, dedicate maybe 1 hour a week to discuss this issue. The cost of living, if it is affecting you, if you're poor, and most people are poor actually, the 90% of the population are poor. If you work for a living, if you borrow to buy your home, potentially you are poor, or you may not be feeling the poverty. But that doesn't mean you should think you are rich, because you are either poor or rich. There's the middle class, who may not feel poverty because they get more money from the government, from the system. But more and more people are being paid less and less, and the people who are actually middle class are reducing in number because of technology is taking over to run the economy, which is a good thing, as I've already said. The only negative of technology taking over, especially taking over from the middle class, is that people will be unemployed. If you're unemployed, you're going to lose your income and you will fall into poverty straight away. The government should be prepared to support people like this, but now the government is shutting down the public sector. The government cannot help anybody in any way without the public sector, period. He can help the super rich by growing the economy, by operating the law, and also the rule ruling over the country using those laws. But that the society will be rigged in favor of the few and against the many. And this principle has to be really understood. And the solution is actually to begin to take responsibility for our lives, and also try to understand our duties, and begin to work with fellow members of our families, or friends, or within the neighborhood. You know, we can actually create networks of neighbors and actually begin to talk about how to value humanity as a priority, because we are not valuing money and wealth. We are valuing power, prestige. We are valuing even nature, which are involving trees, animals, air, environment. These things are valuable. We should value them. But humans should be valued first. This is our culture, which we need to renew now as common people. And then once we grow with this power of humanity, we begin to actually engage with the government, which is ruling over us through the law and through the military system. The law actually is what we refer to as democracy. The military system is what we refer to as national security or other form of security. So this we need to understand the reality going on. This is a bit. I'm actually trying to broaden the discussion as always, so that people actually understand why there is problem with situation of getting help. Why is it so difficult to get help? I'm trying for people to really be aware, because if you are aware, you can prepare, you can plan, and also you can also take it as an opportunity. The complexity, the challenges as an opportunity to take control of your life, to actually engage with other people. There's unity, there's strength in unity. See, if you are actually trying to do something alone, and you may not do 10% of what you need to do in a week, but if you are two of you, you will be surprised how hard you're going to work, because perhaps you would have sat and procrastinated to say, I'm going to do something tomorrow. If you have somebody you're working with, let us do it. Let's do it for a few hours. Then you begin to do it, like recording this video. I could have postponed it until tomorrow. And then we are not going to have a video today. But because I thought to myself, there are people who might be benefiting from the video I'm recording. Let me record it, because I am determined to carry on with discussing these issues and encouraging other people to join me in discussing this issue, because I believe if we engage with it, we are going to start the process of healing, the process of actually solving some of the problems. In terms of energy and the help given by the energy company, the government actually has left these resources to private companies to provide help. And in as much as I think this is wrong in terms of the policy, the reality that this is actually what is happening. So your responsibility is to find out if there is help. The best place is actually to go online I have given this information in the previous videos. So if you're interested, watch the other videos as well. And one of the resources you can find is actually gov.uk and Citizen Advice and other organizations which provide information and advice support. But you can also talk directly to your supplier, energy supplier. But before you speak to them, because they are not keen to give this help out, although the government has actually given. I think, I don't really know, but I think the government has given them money to give you, because the private companies do not give help to anyone. If the government hasn't given them money specifically to give to you, and the private company is saying they're giving you help, then rest assured that there is no help, because private companies may be exercising a PR exercise, public relations exercise. They may want to make you happy. They may want to gain support, publicity, because they say privatizing public service is extremely controversial. You see, sure, private companies may turn around and say, okay, we are going to help people who are struggling, but they don't. This is whether they are promising to give from their profit, or whether they are relying on government funding. If they are relying on government funding, then they are certainly not going to give any help, because the government doesn't have money anymore, because they are sold off the country. The United Kingdom has been sold off to private companies. So all the money of this country now belongs to the private companies. And whatever is left is just temporary. Even the national security is being sold off, and including things like machinery. You know, if you see the police are being fragmented now. You are seeing more. So there's something called police community support. This is actually, in my opinion, it's a process of privatizing the police system in the United Kingdom. And so privatization of the public sector is not going to stop, but we could do certain things, perhaps, as people, to put pressure on the government to help us to get us out of poverty. If they have sold out the country which they are, then if the government is still there, if the government hasn't shut down totally, it won't shut down maybe in the next 100 years, the government will still be there, but at the end of 100 years, you may not even recognize the government, because it will be just symbolic. So going forward, you're going to see less and less government. You're going to see private governments in terms of big corporations. I have said this in the other videos. If it interests you, if it doesn't interest you, go and look for the video and watch them anyway. Because if you are alive, you take responsibility or you don't. My suggestion is don't take responsibility for your life, because your life matters. And so, like I am saying, you see, there are help as advertised on every information panels, but every information platform you will find help. Getting this help in practice is either impossible or almost impossible. And I'm trying to go through you some of the information so that you figure out how complex it is or how easy it is. You can make up your mind. So you as a client might be able to get support from your energy supplier, and there is something called priority services register. Now the problem with priority is that it's decided by the energy company. Now you who as need should be the one to tell the energy company that you are a priority need. The energy company shouldn't actually divide and rule or give an excuse not to provide help, because you see, everybody who works for living, everybody who is on benefit, everybody who is on minimum wage is a priority need. So there is nothing to complicate this situation by creating a register for priority services need. Priority services need, in my opinion, is actually nonsensical, but that is the truth, the reality there. You need to understand what it is. If you think it is a good thing, live according to the law. If you think it is not, live according to the law. Whether it is you think it is right or wrong, that is actually what you get. Try to understand how to use it, and if you are lucky enough to have it to the priority services need with the criteria we may find and discuss with you, then so be it. And if you are on the priority services register, priority services, then your energy supplier could prioritize your coal. If you phone them, they may set it as a priority. This is happening in the hospitals. It is happening in every service. If they think you are not a priority, you are not going to see the doctor. So this concept of priority services classification is not happening also in housing. People who are homeless can be classified by the council as not being on priority list, and they are not given housing even if they are sleeping rough on the street. This is now happening. That's why you find people on the street. People who live on the street are actually, most of them are suffering from mental illness, so they should access healthcare. And how is it that they might not be on the priority list? They might not be on the priority list of the hospital. How is it that they are not on the priority list of housing, council housing? All these people should be on council housing, and everybody who is actually mentally ill should not be charged rent. But there is a complexion of service provision where the council actually pays some money to pay rent, and yet why all this money is coming from the government? Why should the government pay the council to pay rent for people who are actually sick or people who are actually poor? Why should the government not build houses for poor people to live in? They shouldn't pay rent. They shouldn't pay energy. They shouldn't pay for water. They should not pay for food. They shouldn't pay for public transport. And this is not socialism. This is common sense. If you are conservative or New Labour, Liberal Democrat, Scottish Nationalist Party, or some other political party in Northern Ireland, this is not socialism or capitalism. You practice your capitalism as much as you want. Practice your socialism to your heart's content. But do us, the British people, a favor. Give us the services we need. Housing. If somebody is on minimum wage, somebody is on benefit, they should get housing. If you're single, get one bedroom house or flat. If you are married with one child, you automatically, even before the child is born, you should get a 2-bedroom. Actually 3-bedroom, because you may need one extra room for a guest. So if you're single, you get a minimum of 2 bedrooms. Because if somebody comes to visit you, they should be able to sleep in an extra room. So this should be the policy of the government, beginning from right now. As I speak, immediate. This is Great Britain, the 6th richest country in the world. And these policies should be replicated in Europe, America, Asia, and Africa. Every poor person who works for a living, who actually receive benefit should be introduced in Africa. Minimum wage should also be introduced in Africa and in Asia, as well as in Europe. All these, the government can do whatever it likes with the minimum wage benefit. I say it should be increased in the first place. At least £20,000 per annum in the United Kingdom. If not 30, if not 40, if not 50,000. They should look for the money. They should ask rich people to give money to the government to ring fence this towards social policy of benefit, employment, minimum wage, public housing, public health care, education, and transportation. If I miss one of it, then I'll miss one of it. If you're in a home, the government should build enough home for everybody who is on minimum wage, who's on benefit. That is phase one. In the next 150 years, or even 100 years, people on minimum wage, people on benefit should get free housing. They shouldn't pay rent. They shouldn't pay council tax at all. They should not pay for energy or water. They shouldn't buy food. Food should be provided free of charge. There are farmers being funded by the British government who throw away 50%, over 50% of the food they produce to rot on the ground. When people are suffering the cost of living crisis, there is food banks struggling to get food. And food banks should be able to go to these farms and get fresh product, healthy product. The quality of food being provided by food bank in the UK is appalling. Processed food, tinned food, which are actually pre-cooked in a way which these food bankers would not otherwise buy even. They're not healthy food. They are food given by individuals or by other organizations or by supermarkets. Farmers who grow food and throw away 50% of the food produced using public money. These are private farmers. And there are other farmers who are actually being paid money by the government not to produce, not to use, actually to cultivate, to farm on their land. That may be in the interest of environmental protection, but environmental protection should not be implemented at the expense of poor people or at the expense of rich people. That's what I say. In our living, we need to really understand our cultural values. Humanity will always have to come first. If we don't learn peace, we are going to practice violence and we will never be happy. We're going to be sad. Today, just to stray a little, there are scientists who are researching to try and achieve longevity in terms of aging. And they think aging can be slowed down, aging can be stopped or even reversed. That will probably cut deaths by about 50% or even more. And then there's also the concept of regeneration. The idea that human life, or actually life, is actually data, information. If you do a study on the idea of teleportation, as you see in science fiction, Star Trek and all that, you beam yourself, you disappear and then reappear in terms of teleportation. That is actually you die and come back to life. So if that machine is available in reality, I mean people who have died can be actually teleported back from death. If they are teleported into death by nature, then artificially we can teleport them back. We bring the dead, people from the dead. So there's hope for humanity through human endeavors, technology, engineering. Therefore, what we need now is not really to worry about development or our future. Our future is safe in the hands of technology and development. I believe very strongly in science and technology, in development, that dead people are going to be brought back to life. It can take maybe 5,000 years. But if we die now, we rest in peace because we have been living peacefully. If we die now, when we are living in violence, we may rest in pieces. We have to die peacefully, happily, because if we want to be happy, we have to really be peaceful. And peace means prioritizing humanity in our behavior, in our daily activity. And this I have actually repeated. Watch the other videos, watch this one also. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't, thank you for subscribing to my channel. If you have, for sharing, also subscribe to my channel and support it. Share with family and friends. And leave a comment below. Talk to me. Let us carry on with this conversation, with this dispensation. And I'm here because of you. Probably the only reason I'm recording this information is because of you. Because I think you're going to watch it. I think it's going to help. I think it's going to bring peace at the heart of my everything I'm doing, actually, because of peace. Because peace is the only way to happiness. If you are a human being and you cannot be happy, then you may as well commit suicide and die. If you have no prospect of peace and happiness, then your life is worthless. But this is what we're looking for. Everything we do on a daily basis, even the wars we fight because we are looking for peace. Because with peace comes happiness. The ultimate goal of a human being is happiness. Some people call it joy, which means you are happy in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening. For breakfast, for lunch, and for supper, you're a happy person. So our happiness is actually peace. I mean, if you are married and your marriage is peaceful, then you're happy. If it is not peaceful, I am going to be happy. If you are at work and your relationship with your colleagues and your boss is peaceful, you're going to be a happy worker. You walk on the street, you live peacefully with other people, with strangers, the people you call strangers. The idea of stranger is actually a form of violence, and you cannot find peace by practicing violence. Violence is the process of a product of cultural failure. Cultural failure is produced by our failure to value humanity as a priority. We value humanity, yes we do, but for us to be effective culturalists and also peacemakers, we have to put humans first. We value money, we value power, we value everything. That is the right thing to do. But what is failing is prioritize our priority. We are not talking about priority services register. Prioritization is a good idea, but if we mess it up, if we begin to prioritize wealth more of our human being, then we are actually on the road to violence, which is what we are not doing. The reason there is a lot of violence now and unhappiness, young people are committing suicide. All elderly people are living in pain, physical pain, mental pain, emotional pain, because we have forgotten our first love, humanity. If we are humans, we naturally if we don't value another human being, we are developing a bad habit. That bad habit, what you sow is what you reap. If you sow hatred for people, you are going to reap hatred. Reaping hatred means you are going to really, the hatred you gave is what you will receive. That means hatred for somebody, hating somebody else is actually hating yourself. If you hate yourself, you commit suicide. If you hate somebody else, you commit homicide, killing somebody else. I'm using killing and death as an example, but there are other things like self-neglect, giving up. There are people who are giving up on humanity, and they are right. You see, but they are wrong because they are also giving up on trying. We can give up on humanity, but we should never give up trying to restore humanity back onto the plate of life. That is how to get peace. that is what I've been repeating over and over. I'm so grateful that you have been listening this far, and give yourself a pat on the back and give yourself a thank you for watching this far. And let us remember that the idea of privatization is creating problem of poverty, and problem of poverty is creating the cost of living crisis. If there was no poverty, there would not be no cost of living crisis. If the government did not privatize the economy, there will be no poverty. See, because there is poverty because the government is not paying attention to public sector. Like I said, right now the government should go, because they are in a son of the country, to the super rich who are actually the few. If you see the structure of land ownership, then you will know what I'm talking about. If you own land, then you're a rich person. If you don't own land, then if you think you're rich, then think again. See, we don't talk about land in the United Kingdom because that is how far away from the real world. We live in Alice in Wonderland in the United Kingdom, in America, in the developed world. The developed world is actually a dying world in terms of a cultural economy. Our culture is dying. The more we develop, development is actually, because the way we are treating development is an empty shell, because we have excluded people from development. You may not understand this concept, but that is up to you. I have produced so many videos explaining what culture means. It means prioritizing humanity, which is actually something which focuses on humanity, because humans are humans. You don't need money to value humanity. It's the same way. Probably you need money to subscribe to my channel because you need to pay for the internet. Valuing humanity is actually a mindset which is free of charge. All you have to do is sit back on your couch and think humans first, and start working your way alone or with other people to try and support humanity as a cause. And this is what I have actually been talking about, and my wish and my prayer is that more people will join me. I only need one other person talking to me about these things, and every time I see even only one person watching my video, I feel so happy and so contented, because at least we are making progress. Somebody is valuing what I'm doing, and my focus actually about on humanity, because the key to peace actually humanity, because you see, this is our world, this is our life, and we need to really do everything to achieve development, but also to achieve cultural enlightenment, which is a form of enlightenment, is a product of education, cultural education, which is the roadmap to peace. And this is something I'm really interested in, I'm really passionate about, because this is my life. I mean, there is no reason to stay alive if you're not going to be peaceful, if you're not going to be happy. And the reasons for existing is actually happiness. And happiness only comes when we are peaceful. And peaceful only comes when we are culturally enlightened. Cultural enlightenment comes by education. Education comes by changing the way we think. Or it comes by thinking and thinking and learning. And so the first thing, we need to change the way we think about people. People come first. This is the basis of our cultural economy. People come first. So we begin to think like that and begin to work our minds and our body eventually to start behaving and living while prioritizing humanity. Then we begin to work peacefully. Then solve the problem created by privatization, by extreme ideology and politics, creating a monstrous economic system which is actually killing people instead of saving people. See, economy is supposed to save life, not to destroy life, which is what capitalism is now. We have, because of us, we have turned a perfectly good economic system into a weapon of mass destruction. Capitalism should be an instrument of mass construction, not a weapon of mass destruction. Because of our cultural disability and inability as well, we have turned what is a tool of mass construction to a weapon of mass destruction. I've actually created monstrosity known as the private companies attempting to provide public service, which is actually the problem now creating the cost of living crisis. Cost of living as a crisis may not even go anywhere. We may just adjust and be used to it and suffer in silence. Because you see, if you suffer long enough, you get used to suffering. It stops being a crisis because you develop a thicker skin to deal with adversity. Or if you are being abused by a corrupt system for so long, then you begin to accept it and become normalized. Something which is a horror story can be a normal way of life, because you see, your option would be limited because we have given up and you have actually lost sight of any sense of humanity, any sense of peaceful dispensation. And this is the kind of thing I'll be talking about. This is the kind of thing I've been talking about. Let us just try to actually finish this aspect of our discussion. So if you are on this list, then actually, believe it or not, this is what they are promising. That if you are on their service supplier service, if your energy supplier put you on their list, services, priority services register. The register means you are actually listed as for purposes of service as a priority client, which means you are actually very poor, you are sick, maybe you are disabled. That may be the criteria. Find out what it is, and then they may prioritize your phone call. If you phone them, they're going to prioritize it. All these are actually based on the principle of efficiency. Efficiency means you don't waste resources unnecessarily. So from the point of view of energy companies, there are people who contact them who are not priority in terms of their service. In terms of their services, they are not priority. But outside their services, they may be priority. Priority people. They should be on the priority list if it wasn't for their services. If it was public service, people who actually struggle would be. I mean, if you can't pay your energy bill, if you're in debt with energy bill, you should be a priority. But according to their services standard, you are not on the priority list. So they don't answer your calls, which means they don't answer your calls because your calls represent costs. Private companies are there to make money. Now they're actually trying to make money while providing public service, which is actually supposed to be free at the point of need. See, at the point of use. I mean, private service, like, why should you pay for water? Why should you pay for energy? Why should you pay for housing? It is a necessity. If you don't have it, you're going to die. Which means money is now more important than life. That is a cultural problem, which has been interpreted in terms of bad politics and dangerous economics. You see? and we are creating violent society. You know, our legal system is now an instrument of cruelty. The rule of law is actually the rule of cruelty, of violence. You see, we are destroying everything we touch in society. You see, everywhere we look, even the weather is now abusing us. You know, you got funny storms, flooding, extreme heat from the sun. You see, fires are burning us because of extreme heat and whatever is causing. See, even nature no longer respects us because we have gone astray culturally. We are failing to learn peace, and even nature, even the elements actually rebuking us as a species. So the change will now be available, where we begin to act more sanely. Privatizing the public services should stop. Now that it has been privatized, the government, if it is still there, should talk to the rich to start giving free energy to us, because they don't even need the money. Why are they selling energy to us? Because energy companies recently say they made so much money they don't know what to use the money for. So why are they still overcharging us? They are not only charging us energy, they are actually overcharging and increasing the cost of energy, the prices of energy. Just this week, I received a letter of an increase for my supply. Why are they doing that? They should be reducing it, not only reducing it, they should be freezing it. Not only freezing it, they should actually eradicate it. Maybe for 100 years, people should access energy for free. People on benefit, people on minimum wage, people who are sick should be on their priority service register. If they need a register, they don't. Because these are complications, these are excuses to avoid actually providing service to people who they promise to when they are busy buying of the energy company. I mean, this is exploitation of government, of people by the government, by the state. The state is colluding with the super rich to actually abuse the country, which is a form of violence, which is a form of cultural failure. So this is really something you should pay attention to if you are British. Something you should pay attention if you are actually a member of the global community, if you are still human. If you are an alien, pay attention also, because you are on our territory. If you don't pay attention, if we get our governments back, then we're going to evict you. If you are an alien, you are creating problem, colluding with our government, which is privatizing our country. A government who doesn't know what it is doing, clueless. So, you look at this information, then you begin to understand the kind of thing I'm complaining about. So, if your client, if you actually who are listening to me, who is a person who's a customer of energy company, so if you cannot make a complaint on your own, if you can't make a complaint on your own, then you might be able to get support from the consumer service. I have no clue what consumer service are, but find out who they are. If I find out who they are, I may let you know who they are. But the name means somebody who is helping consumers. You shouldn't be a consumer of energy, because you should be a user of energy. Consumer means you are a customer. Customer is a commercial concept. You cannot treat an essential as a business. That is actually evil. The government, the UK government, is an evil institution which has turned human life into business. You are selling the British people for money, for wealth. You have actually turned the British people into a property. You call them customers. That's why you talk of consumer services. People who consume are actually customers. The British people are not customers when they're actually trying to access to use the basic essentials. They are customers if they are actually buying into luxury, maybe something which may not even be essential. Something like clothing is now becoming an essential. It should also be provided for free. People should buy clothing because people are not allowed to walk naked on the street of Britain. They will be arrested by the police. Although nakedness is not unlawful, but other laws which can be interpreted in terms of if you walk naked, like public indecency, offending, the public decency. These are actually indirect laws which the police can arrest you if you're walking naked on the street, not because of nakedness, but because of your behavior. What the impact of your nakedness? In that sense, clothing should be free because it's an essential. Medicine should be free. If you are going to wash your hair, it should be free also. The state should provide it because you can't walk around without your hair being washed. If you need somebody else to wash your hair because you cannot wash your hair, you should be considered as a patient. Unless you are not a patient and you can wash your own hair. But if you are a multimillionaire and multi-billionaire who want special treatment, then you can use your wealth to pay for it. If you want a special type of housing, food, energy, education, if you're a multimillionaire, you can pay for it. But if you need a basic essential, which is actually basic education, going to university, qualifying and beginning to work in the industry as employed or self-employed or as an investor, these are actually basic essentials. And the government should support you all the way. The government should also support small and medium businesses because they are poor. They should give them some grants. If they make losses, government should support them so that they don't close down. Now, small and medium businesses are closing down in the UK. The government is not supporting them because the government thinks these are customers. These are investors. Everything is now up for sale. It's like, I don't know what word to use. It's like the British people have become so cheap because they are being compared to commodities, to things. I mean, humans are not things. You don't treat human beings like it's things. These are special breed of entities. You are special. You are the most important creature ever created or ever to evolve. Some people talk of evolution, I talk of creation. To me, evolution is a form of madness. But if you look at this kind of situation, you can get support from consumers. Look, it's a vicious cycle. If you started a journey to get help from the energy company, which actually promise this country that they're going to improve the quality of service. People actually thought private companies are going to really treat them like multimillionaires and multi-billionaires. So British people became deluded or even or they became mistaken to think they are millionaires because of privatization. So somehow they got it mixed up so that they allow the government to do this kind of nonsense. So they think if multimillionaires and multi-billionaires are enjoying luxury, driving in private jets, the poor think they are going to ride horses. But poor people don't. I mean, beggars don't really ride horses. See, only the rich, only the elect. So business class, you can't travel if you're poor. You can't even afford a flight in an airplane if you are very, very poor. Poor people cannot barely afford even to use buses, public buses. But some buses are so cold that you would rather walk on the street and keep warm, walking on the street, other than getting into buses. It's cold, it's freezing. And these are private companies. And this is what the government is doing to the British people. British people are treated like it's worse than dogs. Dogs are actually treated better. How can you allow private companies to put cold air during winter? And buses are actually freezing. Trains are freezing. Cold. During winter, they are like ovens. And how about the rich? Have you seen the train they ride in winter, they are like paradise. In summer, they are like paradise. Air conditioning, luxury. And that is what privatization represents, luxury. You see, the British people allowed the government to privatize the economy because they think they're going to live in luxury. Now, look what the cat brought home. Where is the luxury now? People are being sent into concentration camps because they can't afford energy. Government is asking these people to go into public libraries or into churches or in town halls to humiliate themselves. Why do you take them into 5-star hotels? You take the British government into central London into 5-star hotels because privatization is good. It's going to make us super millionaires. Everybody is going to be millionaires and billionaires because of privatization. You found the way. Or did you lose the way? For us, for the people of this country. Where is the wealth? Instead, we are being sent into concentration camps. We are being sent into food banks. We are being sent into energy banks. Where is our money? You promised privatization. And we believed that we are going to be rich. Multi-millionaires and multi-billionaires. Living, flying in luxury planes, speedboats, 5-star hotels, going on holiday, not even working, because rich people don't work. Either the machine works for them or poor people work for them. In hotels, in restaurants, cleaning, cooking, making beds, and more and more. And this is what we see. I'm not practicing politics of envy. If there's anything like that, I'm telling the truth. Not like I am actually the author of truth or have a monopoly of truth. I just think I use my brain effectively. I invite viewers to use their brain for once and start acting like geniuses because you think. Your brain is not born of poverty, you're born of riches. You may be poor in the pocket, but you can't interpret your mind in terms of your pocket. That is an abuse of humanity. See, human is is beyond reproach. If it doesn't matter how poor you are, you will always be rich because you're human. You don't need qualification based on how much the size of your wallet, other than the content of your character or the size of your brain, the power of your mind. This kind of situation, this is what reclamation I'm trying to encourage by producing this video. If you watch this video, subscribe to my channel and support it, and leave a comment below and say thank you to yourself, and also I say thank you. So we have this situation. You can actually contact Citizen Advice. In this situation, there's called Citizen Advice Consumer Helpline. Other organizations also available. Government websites are there. So if you have been disconnected or threatened with disconnection, you have to take care of your life. You have to really get help. from wherever you can get help, mainly citizen advice in the United Kingdom and also other organizations to get support. And also, you probably will negotiate with your energy company. Don't take my word for it. If you get into debt, they will either disconnect you or put you on smart meter or prepayment meter or something like that. But one way or the other, if you're on prepayment meter, then the chances are you are going to, because they're trying to put smart meters for water now. You don't pay your water bill, automatically smart meter, you're going to be disconnected. You're not going to have water into your home because of smart meter. Because you're going to be pay as you go. So these people are really creepy. Smart means actually cruelty. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and let us meet you next time. Thank you. Bye bye.